The Exit 7 players in Ludlow are ready to raise the curtains this Friday night on a production of The Who's Tommy. Here with more is artistic director Michael Budnick. Hi, Michael.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. I'm glad you're here. This is such an energetic performance.
Oh my.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you give us an overview of the storyline and where it comes from, its origins?
Sure. Many people know about the 1969 concept album by The Who, which kind of took the world by storm because it was the first rock album that told a story. And it was a weird and imaginative story about a boy who has a terrible experience in childhood, and because of that is traumatized into being deaf, dumb, and blind. And so he has all these kinds of trials and tribulations, but comes to find that he can actually play pinball because he feels vibrations and he hears music in his head. And that's what the original composer, Pete Townsend, his concept. And he becomes an international pinball superstar just by playing with vibrations. And then he gets a following, and that following kind of rejects him. But the message at the end is that it is not that pop culture that brings us humanity. It is our connection to each other and family and friends. So it has a really positive message at the end.
Yes, such nice overreaching themes
in there. It really does.
Now, Michael, since this is such a music-oriented production, is there a live band?
Absolutely. There is a live rock band suspended above the stage.
Stop.
Yes, absolutely.
Really?
Yes. So sometimes they're illuminated and sometimes they're not. There's a scrim in front of them with projections, but music is the heart and soul of this. The music was so popular that it became a ballet at first, translating the stories into ballet on stage, and then a really campy movie that a lot of people remember in the 70s, over the top with baked beans and champagne. And then it was
baked beans and champagne?
Yes, people who've seen it know.
Okay.
And then in 1993 it was brought to Broadway as a Broadway musical, reimagined as a story that really hooks you in, brings you in, non-stop action. Everything happens in front of you. There is no stop from beginning to end. Just one scene melts into each other. It's supposed to represent the jumble in Tommy's mind as he remembers the events of his childhood.
Michael, speaking of music, you asked me to remind you to give a shout out to somebody important in this production.
Yes, our supervisor of music and sound is George Garber Jr. George and I thought of doing Tommy 5 years ago, actually. And we said, where could we do this in the Valley that has the resources, can attract the talent, has the stage to do it, because it's so complex. And we approached Exit 7, and a couple of years ago they approved it as part, actually it was 3 years ago they approved it as part of their season. And then, 2/3 of the way through the production, pandemic.
Yep.
All right, and we were so lucky that the board kept us going and said, as soon as we come out of the pandemic, we can do it again. Thank you, board. And we did, and we have almost our entire production team from before and most of our original cast. We have some wonderful new cast members, and it is just an amazing group of talented people.
It is, Michael. I wanted to mention the cast because looking at all the photos, you see so many different ages in the cast members, right?
That's right. We have to represent Tommy as what we call little Tommy, and adult teen Tommy. So Tommy at 3 different stages in his life. So that requires 3 different actors, a little kid, a middle kid, and an older kid. And the talent that is in these people is just amazing. I mean, when you think about how young they are and how beautifully they sing, it's just incredible. But I do want to emphasize that even though there are children in the cast, including 3 or 4, I'll lose count, 3, I believe, other people under 18. It is not a children's show. It is PG-13 for some adult themes. Anybody who knows the album knows that there is some adult themes in it.
Okay, the production kicks off this weekend. You have a special Thursday night performance,
We
Sunday
do.
matinees as well. Is that right?
We do. Usually we do 3 weekends, but we compressed it because of the pandemic. We decided to compress it into 7 performances, which is Friday, this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday at 8 o'clock and Sunday at 2 p.m. And then the following week we have a special Thursday 8 p.m. performance, then Friday and Saturday at 8 again, and then our final Sunday matinee. And tickets are selling very fast. The Sunday matinees are almost full.
Well, it sounds like a production not to be missed. I imagine you go to exit7players.org for additional information and tickets, Michael?
That is correct, exit7.org for tickets. And also, I should mention that our COVID policy is that we have special social distance seating available on House Right. You can call or email the box office if you need that. And also, of course, like many places, we have a mask requirement for indoors, except maybe when you're sipping beverages.
That sounds wonderful. Michael Budnick, Artistic Director of the Who's Tommy at the Exit 7 Players. Thanks so much for being here. Sounds like a really great performance.
Thank you so much for having me.
Break a leg.
We're so excited. Thank you so much.